Again, Credit Union Broadcast Center, and with the help from our friends over at Deepwater Wind. I think they're out there trying to build more windmills, as Jeff Grabowski always is. I want to welcome Rajiv Kumar, the guy behind Virgin Pulse here in Providence. You've been one of the more successful entrepreneurs, and I'm going to go with Rhode Island history.
Oh, I don't know about
Yes,
that.
I'm going with
That's
Rhode
very
Island
generous of
history.
you.
I'm
Thank
sticking
you.
with it. Somebody's got to prove me wrong. Started at Brown.
Yes.
2000-ish?
I started at Brown in 2001.
2001, so you were illegally trading music files about that time, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, right. And then went to Brown Med School.
I did, yes.
And you're sitting there in class, and you come up with this idea of, hey, how can I make people healthier? Beyond the regular kind of curriculum there at Brown Med School. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I went to Brown undergrad. I studied business economics, but I actually spent quite a bit of time focusing on public health. So my interest was always in how can we improve the health of large populations. I then went on to Brown Medical School, and that's where I got very frustrated. I realized that our whole healthcare system is structured around how do we treat people after they get sick?
Right, of course.
We weren't focused on how do we keep people from getting sick in the first place. And that just seemed just backwards to me. So I started to focus on prevention, specifically around obesity prevention, and started to work with some patients in the community and understand what would help people to exercise more, to eat healthier, and to maintain a healthy lifestyle over a significant period of time. And that's where I got turned on to the idea of social support, bringing people together on teams, leveraging friendly competition, and helping people to change not just their own health, but the health of the people around them, their family and their friends.
And you're sitting there, you're 22 years old,
That's right.
23 years old, and you say, well, I'm going to start a company while I'm in med school. Not the most med school students are kind of busy.
That's right.
Figuring out some of those.
It wasn't as linear as that, Josh. I started originally
Star
as
Trek chessboard, right? On
Exactly.
different levels simultaneously.
It started as a nonprofit project in my free time during medical school. It was called Shape Up Rhode Island. I'm sure many of your listeners have participated in it.
Yeah,
We've had tens
absolutely.
of thousands of people go through the program. But it was a small little project, and the goal was to have 500 people be in a competition and kind of have this be an annual event. And much to my surprise, it took off. It went absolutely viral in Rhode Island. We used social media, in kind of a raw form, an early form, and got people to invite each other.
Right.
We got companies signing on board, and thousands of people signed up, and I was surprised as much as anybody that there was this much interest in how to get healthy together.
And did you see the impact? I mean, it's not only great to get people involved and get them talking about it, but could you measure the impact of them getting healthier? And corresponding, I don't know if it got to this point at that stage, whether or not healthcare costs were going down or those kind of results took place.
Yeah, so in the early stages, we were able to measure people's physical activity. We had, before Fitbits, we still had Apple Watches, there were still pedometers, and so we were able to get
Old
people's
school,
steps,
right.
old school, and weight scales, so we could weigh people. And so we knew that people were exercising more and they were losing weight. And in fact, we partnered with Brown Medical School and a researcher by the name of Dr. Rena Wing, and we published 6 peer-reviewed studies showing that, in fact, people were losing clinically significant amounts of weight and keeping that weight off over time. So we had a lot of validation that this was a model that was successful.
And then you turned it into a bit of a for-profit model.
That's right.
And really started to drive it.
That's right. So we reached kind of a cap here in Rhode Island. There were only so many employers and so many people. We wanted to scale this.
We
thing
only
across
have a
the
million
country.
people.
We only have a million. And yet there are 300 million people around the country and 7 billion people around the world, and we had big dreams. And so we wanted to raise capital to scale this. And so
Right.
we had to spin out a for-profit company to go and do that. But companies like CVS, Health and Citizens Bank and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Rhode Island, they were the early adopters. They signed on and helped us to get started. Pretty soon we had companies all around the country joining.
Well, let's talk about this as an environment for startups. We're a startup here. We're now in year 7 or so, going on 8. And I make the argument, one, it was a great time to be a startup. We started in 2010. It was a horrific economy. Right? So there's a whole bunch of advantages to starting a business in a horrific economy. Most is you can get talent cheaper than you could otherwise.
Sure.
The second is, for some reason, collaboration is easier when everybody's sort of trying to dig their way out, and everybody was, and the whole country was trying to dig themselves out. What did you find here? What were the key factors that allowed you to get some, one, the startup, and two, the scale that maybe Rhode Island was better than other places?
Yeah, well, there's an analogy that a lot of people have made over the years that Rhode Island is kind of like a petri dish.
Yeah.
And you can test ideas and you can fail quickly or succeed quickly. And then if something works here, theoretically, it could scale across the country and work very well. And I think we're sort of a poster child for that analogy. We started locally here in Rhode Island. We started to get customers and members and hone our technology and our product. And then we tapped into all of the resources that are available. I think people are kind of surprised at just how much is available for entrepreneurs. We won the Brown University Business Plan Competition. We won the Rhode Island Business Plan Competition. We got an innovation tax credit from what was then the Rhode Island Economic Development Corporation, and that allowed us to raise capital. We tapped into local angel groups. There are a surprising number of angel groups, doctors and lawyers and business people that are investing in local businesses. And then we did research with Brown. That research sort of fueled our company over time. I think probably one of the other important assets we had was there's a great mentorship networking community here. People that want to help each other succeed. And I think it's because we're a small place.
Yeah.
We feel like we're connected and we care about each other's success. And so we had mentors from other startups, and we had mentors from Beta Spring, and from all of these other organizations that really helped to fuel our growth.
The one weakness is we don't have a little later stage money. You got to go to Boston.
That's right.
We had one. They moved away to Boston. There's really a little more mature venture capital, and for smaller companies, there's really no private equity. I mean, obviously we have Providence Equity and Nautic, but those are for significantly developed, more mature companies. Talk about that challenge of kind of building this universe here and then having to go up to Boston and saying, hey, look at us. And I know when you go to Boston, they all want you to move to Boston,
right.
And what that was like.
Yeah, and that's exactly what our experience was. We raised, about $1 million, $1.5 million here locally. When we started to need to raise $5 and $10 million, we couldn't get that money here. I think, if you shine as a great company, people will invest in you from wherever they are. And when we went out to venture capitalists and said, look at what we built in little Rhode Island,
right.
And we're ready to take this and scale it across the country and around the world, people took notice.
Yeah.
And we ended up raising capital from 2 boutique venture capital firms in Boston, Excel Venture Management and Q-Ball Capital. And they ended up putting in close to $20 million in the business over a period of 6 years.
That's great.
And they never asked us to move.
They didn't?
They didn't. They did not. They were happy to come down here. They loved the environment here.
Yeah.
They found it to be conducive. And they loved that cost was lower here.
Yeah.
Lower cost of rent, lower cost of talent. And, Providence Rhode Island is the 6th highest density of college students anywhere in the country.
Yeah, we're good at producing them. We're not as good
right.
as keeping them. And that's really the big challenge for the Rhode Island economy. I think the governor's trying to do some of those things with, functionally the state's investing in you guys and trying to bring Johnson & Johnson in here. It's the 2nd highest in loss of graduates, 6th highest in density per capita of having them. And they're super talented. I mean, this isn't, I don't want to besmirch any part of the country, but, we're talking Brown, RISD, URI, Providence College, on and on and on.
That's right.
Are you now starting to capture them? I mean, is it good feeding come May and June of this coming year that you can be able to capture a whole bunch of recent grads?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I was just talking to our head of HR today, and he's going to the Brown Career Fair tomorrow, and he said, give me the talking points. How are we going to recruit other Brown students? We've got a bunch of students from Brown, from Providence College, from Johnson & Wales, from RISD. They want to stay here in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them, but many of them do, and they're looking for great companies to go work for. For us, we're very interested in millennial talent.
Yeah.
Right? So the millennials are the future of the workforce. In a couple of years, they'll be the majority of the workforce, and we want to be able to recruit millennials. That's a big reason why we chose to be in Providence. It's a cool city.
Right.
There's a lot of vibrancy here, the arts, the culture, the food. People want to be able to walk to work, ride their bike to work. And so we said, all right, let's set up shop in a place where we can attract millennials, and then let's create a pipeline from all the colleges and universities. So we're forming those relationships, those alliances, we're recruiting. And increasingly, we're interested in how we can start to form relationships before they're seniors.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's one thing to wait till they're seniors and looking for a job. It's another to meet them when they're freshmen and start to build and cultivate that relationship, and maybe even have the opportunity to influence what they learn so that they can be ready-made to take jobs in the company. So that's what we're very interested in.
And a little bit about, you guys hit a certain level and you get up to about 100 people. Is that where you were before?
We were at about 130 people, right?
Pre-acquisition?
Yes.
And Virgin came knocking on the door, And did Richard call you directly? Did he take you out on the boat
No,
with
in fact,
Barack?
in fact, I've never met Richard Branson, believe it or not.
That is a ripoff.
I've never met him. I'm still waiting for my personal invitation to Necker Island, and I will be there if I get the call.
That'd be great. We can do Golocal Live from
Okay,
there
I'll
as
let him
well.
know.
Yeah,
I'll let him
please.
know. So I think contrary to popular belief, our company's not owned by Virgin. It was once upon a time.
Right.
It was started, founded, incubated by Virgin.
And
They still have a significant stake in the company. But about 3 years ago, a private equity firm took a majority stake and bought out some of Virgin's ownership. So we're majority owned by a New York City-based private equity firm. So we licensed the name from Virgin. Virgin has a seat on our board, and they're heavily involved in what we do, but they don't call all the shots. But Virgin called, and they were our number one competitor. So we're in a very competitive market in the employee well-being space. There are 1,000 companies in the U.S. alone that do employee well-being, some better than others. And we said, you know what? Let's join forces, and we can actually be a stronger company. We can have more money to invest in research and development, and we can go after this market together.
And I think when we first started, we used to think about competitors. Now we've hit a point where we really don't think about our competitors, and you just think about how can we do it better, how can we do it faster, how can we do it smarter.
That's right.
Is that really where you are now?
We're there.
Yeah.
We are the largest employee well-being software company in the world. And so our focus is squarely on what's next.
Yeah.
What's the future? How do we stay ahead of the curve? What do employers want? What do employees want? And everybody else simply follows us.
Right.
And if someone has a good idea along the way, we're happy to learn from that, and incorporate that. But we really feel like we tell the market where it's heading, and that's kind of an exciting place to be.
And you've got a big growth opportunity, and Rhode Island's partnered with you. You're looking to get to 300 employees in Rhode Island.
That's right. We're almost at 200.
Are you
already.
really?
Yeah, we made an acquisition last week.
I think we reported on that.
Yeah, that's right. A Coventry-based company called Proventure that's been in the space for a long time.
How big were they?
They were roughly about 80 employees.
Were they really?
Yeah, roughly about 80 employees. And so their employees are moving into our downtown Providence office in February. We're very excited about that. And we're planning to make more acquisitions over time. There are no more wellness companies in Rhode Island that we're interested in, but there are companies all across the world, and we're going to keep making acquisitions.
You didn't think about buying Benny's or anything like that during the process?
Wasn't quite the right business model fit for us.
They have chia pets, though. So you're at 200. How do you get to 300? I mean, this is, I think you talk to most people who have growing businesses. They say, yeah, we get a lot of applications, but we don't always get the right applications. Right. How do you continue to grow talent of the level you want and become ultimately a destination for people to want to come to Providence and want to grow with your company?
That's a good question. And just to clarify, we're up over 500 employees globally.
Yeah,
we have 10 different offices.
But you're going to 300
We've got
here.
200 here. We're going to 300. We've got 40 open positions right now currently. So that's part of the pathway of how we get there.
Right.
We're going to continue to make acquisitions. We were surprised at how fast employees in our Framingham office wanted to come to Providence.
Oh, that's good.
And actually, it happened faster than we thought it would be. So we've actually started to fill more seats, and we're actually out of desks. You believe it or not, we just opened this brand new office in November, state of the art, 30,000 square feet. There are no more desks. So we've got desks coming in. We're expanding another 20,000 square feet, but that'll be filled by the end of this calendar year. We're already looking at buildings across the street. So there's a lot of demand. We're growing fast. We are definitely seeing huge increases in applications.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in November we had 1,200 applications from Rhode Island. In December we had 2,400 applications.
That's great.
For a small number of positions. We're talking 35, 40 positions. So there's a demand to work at a very innovative, very socially minded technology company. Mm-hmm. We like the idea of being a big fish in a small pond. We've got a great brand.
Yeah, great brand.
We've got a social mission. We're trying to help people lead healthier lifestyles, be more productive at work. And so that's attracting a lot of people. It's also a great place to work. Benefits are wonderful. We decided to build a state-of-the-art work environment.
It's about as cool a spot as whatever's going.
Yeah, we had our board of directors in the office last week. They saw it for the first time, and they said, this feels like Silicon Valley for $25 a square foot. They said, it's like you took Google and just...
Put it in a little perspective. Boston per square foot is 40 to 50.
50 to 75.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And in Silicon, it's 75 to 125.
That's right. So we took, we told her, we had a wonderful designer. We told her, give us a slice of Facebook and Google, put a wellness bent on it, drop it in the heart of downtown Providence, and retain as much of the historical character of the building as you can.
That's great.
And she achieved all those goals.
Great. Any other surprises? You got any big announcements you want to make here on Go Local Live?
No major new announcements, but we're hiring, so always welcome people to come to our website, virginpulse.com, check out the jobs, refer friends. I can't tell you how many emails I get from people in Rhode Island. This is a small state. My brother, my uncle, my sister, my nephew, everybody wants a job. We're happy to look at resumes and meet talented people. And we're also hosting a lot of community events in our space as well.
Great.
So
Well, keep us up to date on that. We'll always push that out. Glad to be a good partner with you, and really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And really, should be cherished about starting a business in Rhode Island, growing it in Rhode Island, and really developing it. Too often, I think folks look for the greener pasture of someplace else, and it's not always greener. And this is really starting to, you can feel it a little bit of being a hub, a place that you can start to connect some energy between some different companies and what they're doing.
There's a lot of momentum here. We're glad to be here, and we got an exciting future ahead of us.
Great. Thanks so much, Rajiv.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
We're going to take a 1-second break. We'll be right back with Mike DeBass, Director of Administration from the state of Rhode Island.